I think I can match Leo for how passionate I can be and how loud I can be. Anybody who's had an opportunity to either work for me at one point in their life or play soccer for me knows that. So listen, thank you very, very much for everybody for coming out today. Obviously, it's a very, very important day. Thank you to Debbie Boyer, President of UMSI, Leo Broderick, Council of Canadians, Debbie and Chris. Very, very heartfelt messages today, and very, very important as well. Thank you all to the distinguished guests that are here today, and I noticed that there is a city councillor, so there is somebody in politics that actually cares what's happening in our community. So Councillor Tweel is in the back of the room. Thank you for coming. It's also very important today that we acknowledge two strike actions that started today. QP, Charlottetown Regional School Board, bus drivers, tradespeople, and custodians, and the Mount Allison Faculty Association, all full-time and part-time faculty went on strike today, so we should acknowledge our brothers and sisters on the mainland. Is it not ironic that in a year we celebrate an important chapter in our Canadian history and mark the 150th anniversary of the 1864 Charlottetown Conference, where the idea of a Canada as a nation was proposed? Our democracy and our society seem doomed to searing injustices and inequality. What is happening to our public services in this country and on our island? To paraphrase Stephen Lewis, we have lost our moral compass as a nation. A country that has almost 1 million people living in poverty. And to think, in our own province, we have 1 in 4 children living food insecure. 27% of PEI families are food insecure. Why? It's inequality, folks. Income inequality considered the hateful public policy that 1% of the top earners earn 10% of the total Canadian income. Of the 10% top earners, they earn a total of 30% of the Canadian income. We no longer have a middle class. We have the rich, and we have the working poor. We have the haves, and we have the have-nots. An obscene gap that is widening and completely unsustainable. Right here in our own province, wages stagnate, while the government ensures that everyday fees are indexed to inflationary costs. We pay more for services while not receiving a livable wage. How can it be in a country that's so wealthy we cannot deliver mail door to door? The only country in the G8. Shameful. How can it be that our seniors and people with disabilities have to leave their homes to get their mail and go to a local mailbox? How can it be that over 10,000 islanders have to travel to the mainland to receive health care services? How can it be that our classrooms, our children, and our future are not receiving the appropriate teacher ratios and resources required? How can we ignore science and the DFO closures across this country and not protecting our environment? Consider our own government and their dismal record on environmental issues. How can we allow government to make changes to the public pension plan without proper consultation and input from pensioners? How can we accept closures to DVA? How can we accept closures that take away service to our veterans who are our heroes? Unacceptable. How can we accept a university on our island that has watched tuition raise 133% since 1990? And, by the way, the only university in this country that is exempt from freedom of information legislation. The only one. Our basic freedoms. That is what is at stake here today. It was Dr. Martin Luther King that stated, and I quote, The labor movement was the principal force that transformed misery and despair into hope and progress. You folks, the labor movement. This is about defending our rights, our freedoms, and our public service. Today, we demand transparency and democracy from all levels of government, federally, provincially, and municipally. It is time as a people and as a society we share our unified public voice opposing cuts to our public services. Our unions have brought us so much to be proud of. Weekends, paid vacations, an 8-hour workday, work breaks, equal pay for equal work, sick leave, the Canadian pension plan, universal health care, minimum wage, parental leave, the right to strike, a 40-hour work week, worker compensation, employment insurance, pensions, public education, I could go on and on. That was because of our labor movement. That was because of you. Our challenge is simple. We must, and I mean private citizens, public unions, everyone in society, we must stand together. So I'm asking for all of you as Islanders, as Canadians, brothers and sisters, moms and dads, grandmothers and grandfathers, to stand together and have the courage to stop cuts to our public services. We demand that our Premier, our MLAs and MPs, municipal leaders have the moral courage to do the right thing and stand up for our public services. So I have a little quote, and I'll buy you lunch if you can figure out who said it. Trade unions have been an essential force for social progress, without which a semblance of a decent and humane society is impossible under capitalism. Pope Francis. I don't have to buy lunch, that's good. Absolutely. It shows you if the Catholic Church can change, so can we, right? Brothers and sisters, we can. And I mean this. This is just the beginning. We start today and we hammer away at this provincial government, this federal government. We will not accept changes. Not entirely. Brothers and sisters, we can create a more just, a more decent, a more generous society, a more generous community, but we must do it together. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. Great, and just reacting.